The night was unusually cold. The wind whispered through the trees outside her window. Anna sat alone in her small apartment, clutching a faded photograph. The face in the picture smiled as if it were alive. It had been months since Daniel had passed. Her heart ached with a hollow emptiness that refused to heal. She remembered the way he laughed, the warmth of his hand in hers. The silence around her felt heavy, almost pressing against her chest. A sudden creak from the hallway made her freeze. Her eyes darted toward the shadowed corridor. She told herself it was just the old floorboards, nothing more. The air smelled faintly of roses, though she had not bought any. A cold breeze brushed her neck, raising goosebumps. Anna turned slowly, sensing something behind her. The photograph trembled in her hands as if it had a heartbeat. A soft whisper brushed her ear. It was a voice she knew, a voice that should not be there. "Anna," it said. Her body stiffened, and her breath caught in her throat. The lights flickered, shadows dancing across the walls. Her mind screamed at her to run, but her feet refused to move. The room grew colder with each passing second. She felt a presence, a weight in the air that made her chest tighten. The whisper came again, closer this time. "Do not be afraid." Her eyes searched the dark corners of the room. A faint glow appeared near the window, soft and warm, yet unnervingly real. She could see the outline of a figure standing there. It was him, Daniel, just as he had been in life. Her heart raced, a mixture of joy and terror threatening to overwhelm her. "How is this possible?" she whispered aloud. The figure stepped forward, and the glow intensified. It was him, and yet it was not him. His eyes held the same tenderness, but there was something different, something unsettling. He reached out his hand, inviting her. Her instincts screamed to flee, but she found herself moving toward him. The room shifted, the walls stretching and bending in impossible ways. She felt herself falling, but there was no ground, only him. "Anna, I could not leave you," he said. The air around her thickened, almost solid, as if she was stepping into another realm. She tried to speak, but no words came. The photograph slipped from her hands, floating toward him. He caught it, and the warmth in his touch felt like fire against her cold skin. "Love does not end," he whispered. The world around her seemed to dissolve, leaving only him and the echo of his presence. Her heart ached with longing and fear. She wanted to reach him, to hold him, yet a part of her knew she should not. The light flickered again, brighter this time, and shadows twisted unnaturally. She realized then that this was not just him, not just a memory. Something else lingered, something that had followed him back. Her pulse quickened as the room grew darker in the corners. The warmth of his hand contrasted sharply with the chill creeping into her bones. She felt eyes on her from places unseen, judging, waiting. "Do you trust me?" he asked, his voice echoing strangely. Anna nodded, though fear clawed at her chest. He smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. The air vibrated, a low hum filling the room, almost like a heartbeat. She felt herself being pulled toward him, drawn into a realm she could not understand. The photograph glowed faintly in his hand, a tether between her world and his. Every instinct screamed to stop, but she could not resist. Something brushed past her, cold and wrong, but he held her gaze, grounding her. The whispers returned, growing louder, yet unintelligible. They surrounded her, pressing into her mind. She wanted to scream, but only his name escaped. Daniel stepped closer, the glow expanding, blinding and warm. And in that moment, she understood that love after death could be beautiful, terrifying, and dangerous all at once. The warmth from him contrasted sharply with the chill spreading through the room. Anna felt as though she were suspended between two worlds. Her body did not move on its own, but her mind felt fully aware. Shadows twisted at the edges of the glow, reaching, stretching, as if alive. She shivered despite the warmth of his hand on hers. "Do not fear me," Daniel whispered again, but the words felt hollow. Something unseen lurked in the corners, watching, waiting for a misstep. Anna's heart pounded so loudly she feared it might give her away. The photograph in his hand seemed to pulse with its own life. She reached for it, but he held it just out of reach. "You are not ready," he said, and his voice trembled slightly. The room began to shift, the familiar walls stretching into strange angles. The floor beneath her feet felt less solid, more like mist than wood. A chill wind swept through, carrying with it a scent she could not place. It was sweet, like roses, and foul, like decay, all at once. The shadows grew larger, darker, moving against the direction of the light. Anna could feel them whispering in a language she almost understood. Her chest tightened, a mix of fear and longing making her dizzy. Daniel stepped closer, and the glow around him expanded, forcing the shadows back. "Follow me," he said, his hand still outstretched. She obeyed, drawn to him despite every instinct screaming to run. The floor beneath them dissolved, revealing a void that seemed endless. Stars twinkled far below, impossibly close, suspended in the darkness. Anna felt as if she were floating through a dream she could not wake from. The whispers grew louder, surrounding her completely. She tried to scream, but only a faint sound escaped. Daniel held her gaze, his eyes the only anchor in the storm of sensations. "You have always loved me," he said softly, yet there was an edge of warning. The air thickened, almost pressing on her lungs. Shadows slithered across the edges of the glow, forming shapes she could barely comprehend. Faces, twisted and hollow, appeared and vanished in the darkness. Anna's pulse raced, fear and desire mingling so tightly she could not separate them. "Stay close," Daniel urged, and she could feel a strange energy radiating from him. The photograph in his hand began to glow brighter, illuminating her face. Her reflection appeared in it, pale and frightened. The shadows recoiled from the light, but not completely. A cold hand brushed against her shoulder. She spun around, but nothing was there, only darkness. Her breath came in ragged gasps. Daniel's voice reached her again, calm and steady. "Love can bridge even death," he said. A sudden force lifted her slightly off the ground. The glow from Daniel's body wrapped around her like a cocoon. The shadows hissed and recoiled, unwilling to let her go. She realized they were drawn to her fear, feeding on it. Her heart beat faster, each thump echoing through the strange void. She reached for him, and he held her hand firmly. The photograph floated between them, radiating a warmth that seemed to protect her. "Do not let them take you," Daniel warned, his eyes locking on hers. The shadows surged forward, but the glow around them pushed back with equal force. A strange, piercing scream echoed through the void. Anna's ears rang, but she could still hear Daniel's steady voice. "You are stronger than you think," he said. Her body trembled as a cold hand brushed her cheek, yet when she turned, no one was there. The void twisted again, more violently this time. She clutched Daniel's hand, drawing courage from him even as terror threatened to overwhelm her. The shadows hissed and wreathed, stretching their long fingers toward her. "Hold on," he urged. Her mind raced. Could love truly survive death? Could it protect her in a place that defied every law she knew? The shadows lunged, but the light from Daniel and the photograph flared brighter. She felt herself being lifted higher, away from the reaching darkness. The warmth of his hand and the glow around them wrapped her completely. For a moment, she felt weightless, suspended in a strange limbo. The whispers faded slightly, replaced by a low hum that vibrated through her chest. Daniel pulled her closer, the light intensifying around them. A strange serenity washed over her, despite the fear still lurking at the edges. The shadows recoiled, shrinking back, but they were not gone. Anna realized this was not just a reunion. It was a trial, a test of the power of their love. Every step she took toward him was an act of defiance against the darkness. Her hand remained firmly in his, their connection a lifeline. The void around them seemed endless, yet she no longer felt lost. A warmth spread through her chest, steady and reassuring. Daniel whispered, "Trust in us." The shadows circled once more, hungry and impatient. Anna drew a deep breath, summoning courage she did not know she had. Her love for him, pure and unwavering, became a shield. The light flared again, pushing the darkness back, forcing it to retreat. And in that moment, Anna understood the truth. Love after death was not safe. It was not gentle. It demanded courage, demanded sacrifice. But it was real, undeniable, and terrifyingly powerful. The shadows hissed one final time, and then they paused. Anna felt her heart beating in sync with Daniel's. The photograph floated between them, radiating warmth and light. The void around them seemed to settle, the tension easing slightly. But deep in the corners, something waited. Always waiting. The shadows lingered at the edges, unwilling to vanish completely. Anna felt their presence, cold and restless, but she no longer trembled. Daniel's hand was steady in hers, warm and real, anchoring her to something she could trust. The glow from the photograph wrapped around them like a protective bubble. She realized that love had given her strength, a shield against the darkness. The void around them began to settle, the chaos easing into a strange calm. Daniel looked into her eyes, and for the first time, there was no fear in his expression. "Anna," he whispered softly, "we are together, even if the world does not understand." She nodded, feeling the weight of grief and longing lifting from her heart. The shadows retreated slowly, dissolving into mist, leaving only faint echoes behind. The photograph floated gently to the floor, its glow dimming to a soft warmth. Anna knelt to pick it up, tracing the edges of the image with her fingers. It felt tangible, yet it carried the memory of the impossible moment they had shared. Daniel held her close, his presence steady and reassuring. "I cannot stay forever," he said, "but the love we shared will always be with you." Tears ran down her cheeks, not of fear, but of relief and acceptance. The chill in the room softened, replaced by a gentle warmth, like sunlight breaking through clouds. Anna breathed deeply, feeling a sense of peace she had not known since his passing. The shadows were gone, the void receded, and the apartment felt like her own once again. She stood slowly, holding the photograph close to her heart. Daniel's form shimmered softly, then faded gradually into the glow, leaving only the memory of his presence. Anna whispered his name, a promise and a farewell intertwined. She felt the echo of his love lingering in the air, comforting and real. The wind outside her window was gentle now, carrying a scent of roses and warmth. She smiled through her tears, knowing that love could survive even the impossible. Though he was gone, he had left her stronger, braver, and filled with a quiet courage. Anna set the photograph on the windowsill, where the morning light touched it. She turned to face the day, feeling the world around her vibrant and alive once again. The past would always linger, but it no longer held her captive. Love after death had changed her, left its mark, and given her a story she would carry forever. And in the stillness of her heart, she knew he was watching, loving, and always near. The shadows might return someday, but she was ready. Her love was stronger than fear, brighter than darkness, and external.